September 27, 1941. 6:14 a.m. Richmond, California. The fog hangs low over the shipyard, thick enough to taste. Steel groans somewhere in the distance. A whistle blows sharp, urgent, and hundreds of workers surge forward across the concrete, lunch pails swinging, boots striking in uneven rhythm. You can smell oil, hot metal, salt from the bay. On the edge of the yard, a man in a rumpled suit checks his watch for the third time in a minute. He isn't a naval officer. He isn't even supposed to be here. He's a civilian, middle-aged, tire-dyed, hands stained with grease rather than ink. Henry J. Kaiser. And in front of him sits a problem no army has ever solved with bullets. America is running out of time. Across the Atlantic, German U-boats are tearing into Allied shipping lanes. Freighters vanish in flames faster than they can be replaced. Every sunk ship means lost food, lost fuel, lost ammunition. Britain is bleeding tonnage. The Soviet Union hasn't even entered the war yet, but when it does, it will need supplies, millions of tons of them. The math is brutal. If ships are sunk faster than they are built, the war is lost before the first American soldier fires a shot. Kaiser knows this. Everyone here does. But what no one agrees on is how to fix it. Traditional shipbuilders insist warships and cargo vessels take time, months, sometimes years. Rivets must be hammered by hand. Crews must be trained slowly. Every ship is treated like a custom project, built piece by piece in the open air. Kaiser looks at that process and sees something else entirely: waste. He steps onto the yard floor, ignoring the stairs. This is not a place for theory. Men shout over each other. Cranes creak. Steel plates the size of houses sway overhead. A single mistake can crush someone flat. And yet Kaiser's idea is more dangerous than any falling beam. He wants to build ships like cars, not carefully, not lovingly, but fast, modular. Replace rivets with welding. Break ships into sections. Build them simultaneously instead of sequentially. Train workers who have never touched a ship in their lives, farmhands, shop clerks, women who were never allowed near heavy machinery before. When he explains it to Navy officials, some laugh, others bristle. Shipbuilding, they say, is an art. Kaiser doesn't argue, he just points at the clock. By the end of 1941, the United States is officially at war. Pearl Harbor turns urgency into panic. Orders flood in faster than anyone can process them. The Atlantic and Pacific both demand ships. Now, German intelligence begins tracking American production figures. At first, they aren't concerned. Reports show modest numbers. A few dozen Liberty ships launched. Nothing extraordinary. Berlin assumes the Americans are like everyone else, slow, divided, inexperienced, dangerous eventually, but not yet. Then something strange appears in the data. Launch intervals begin to shrink. A ship every few weeks becomes a ship every few days. Dry docks that should be occupied for months are suddenly empty again, ready for the next hull. German analysts double-check the figures. They assume mistakes. They are wrong. Back in Richmond, Kaiser stands beside a chalkboard smeared with numbers. Days, hours, minutes. Every step of construction is broken down, timed, questioned. Why wait for one section to finish before starting another? Why build on site when parts can be assembled elsewhere and brought in by rail? The shipyard transforms. Assembly lines appear where none existed before. Hull sections slide into place like giant puzzle pieces. Welders work in shifts around the clock. When one team sleeps, another takes over. And then one morning, the impossible happens. A Liberty ship is completed in just over 4 days. 4, not weeks, not months. 4 days from keel laying to launch. The crowd that gathers doesn't cheer at first. They just stare. Some laugh nervously, convinced there must be a catch. Ships aren't supposed to be built this way. Not safely. Not at this scale, but the ship floats, it sails, and it carries cargo. Word spreads fast through Washington, through Allied command, all the way to Berlin. German intelligence intercepts shipping reports that don't make sense. Sinkings increase, but supply levels don't drop. Convoys reappear faster than expected. Losses that should cripple the Allies are replaced almost immediately. For the first time, the numbers begin to favor America. Quietly, relentlessly. Kaiser watches another hull slide into the water and doesn't smile. He knows this is only the beginning. If his system works everywhere, If it scales, the Axis faces something no army can bomb into submission, an enemy that builds faster than it can be destroyed. And somewhere in Germany, analysts are about to realize that the war is no longer just being fought on battlefields, but on factory floors they cannot reach. March 1942, Berlin. In a dimly lit office far from the front lines, a German intelligence officer runs his finger down a column of figures. Sinkings, tonnage, replacement rates. At first glance, the war at sea looks promising. U-boats are still scoring victories, still sending freighters to the bottom in flames. But the totals don't add up. Every ship destroyed should leave a gap, a pause, a shortage felt somewhere, at the front, in factories, in cities under rationing. Instead, Allied convoys keep arriving, fuel keeps flowing, ammunition stocks don't dip. The officer circles a number in red pencil, American production. It is rising far faster than projected. At sea, U-boat commanders begin noticing it too. Captains who once stalked lonely, thinly defended convoys now report something unsettling. Ships are everywhere. Routes that were silent weeks earlier are suddenly crowded again. Escorts are thicker, schedules tighter. Sink one ship, and another seems to appear in its place almost immediately. Back in the United States, the scale of Kaiser's experiment is multiplying. What began in one shipyard is now doctrine. Liberty shipyards appear along both coasts: Richmond, Portland, Baltimore, Mobile. Each yard mirrors the same philosophy: modular construction, relentless pace, no wasted motion. Welders replace riveters almost entirely. Prefabricated sections roll in by rail. Workers specialize in a single task and repeat it thousands of times until speed becomes instinct. Most of them have never built anything like this before. Farmers weld hull plates. Housewives operate cranes. Teenagers fresh out of school measure tolerances on steel meant to cross oceans under fire. They work 12-hour shifts, sometimes longer. Accidents happen, mistakes too, but the ships keep coming. One launch turns into 2 a week, then one every day. Eventually, some yards push past that, assembling hulls faster than Axis intelligence can even track them. German analysts issue warnings. Production like this, they argue, changes the nature of war. Attrition no longer favors the attacker. Losses are no longer decisive. The warnings move upward through the chain of command. They are largely ignored. High command believes American quality must suffer. Ships built this fast must be fragile, poorly made, prone to failure. And some are. Early Liberty ships crack under stress. Hulls split in cold seas. Failures make headlines. But instead of slowing down, American engineers adapt. Welding techniques improve. Steel composition changes. Designs are reinforced. The assembly lines never stop. They evolve while moving at full speed. By late 1942, the numbers become undeniable. For every ship Germany sinks, America replaces more than one, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. The realization hits slowly, like rising water in a sealed room. U-boats can still kill ships, but they can no longer win the war. No matter how skilled the crews, no matter how daring the attacks, the math has turned against them. Somewhere in the Reich, a report lands on a desk stating the unthinkable. American industry is now producing ships faster than the Axis can destroy them by an overwhelming margin. The war has crossed a threshold, and it cannot be crossed back. But what German intelligence doesn't yet understand is that ships are only the beginning. The same methods are already being applied to tanks, aircraft, engines, everything an army needs to survive. The factory trick is spreading, and soon it will reach the front lines themselves. June 1944, the English Channel, before dawn. The sea is black and restless. Landing craft bob in the darkness, packed tight with men, engines idling, breath held. Above them, the sky hums, thousands of aircraft droning eastward in endless waves. And beneath it all, stretching back across the Atlantic, lies something no soldier here can see. An industrial chain that never stops moving. Every tank grinding onto the beaches of Normandy. Every truck rolling off a landing craft. Every crate of ammunition stacked behind the lines exists for one reason. Somewhere, someone built it faster than the enemy could destroy it. By now, the Liberty ships are no longer a curiosity. They are the backbone of the war. Over 2,700 of them, each ugly, boxy, and brutally efficient, have crossed the oceans carrying the weight of entire campaigns. German commanders know this. They see it in the sheer scale of Allied operations. Where once a destroyed bridge or sunk convoy bought time, now it buys nothing. Replacement arrives almost immediately. Losses are absorbed without slowing the advance. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel watches this reality unfold from the Atlantic Wall. His defenses are formidable, his troops disciplined. But even he understands the truth. Fortifications mean little against an enemy that can afford to lose equipment and replace it overnight. Behind the scenes, German production struggles. Skilled labor is scarce. Bombing raids disrupt factories. Supply chains fracture. Tanks wait for spare parts that never arrive. Aircraft sit grounded, perfectly intact, rendered useless by the absence of a single component. The contrast is devastating. American equipment breaks too, but it comes back. Damaged vehicles are repaired, swapped, or replaced entirely. The system Kaiser helped pioneer does not rely on perfection. It relies on volume, speed, and adaptability. This is the final realization. Wars are not won by brilliance alone, or courage, or even tactics. They are won by logistics. By the end of 1944, German intelligence no longer speaks in terms of victory. Reports shift to damage control, to delay, to survival. The question is no longer if the Axis will lose, but how long it can continue. Henry Kaiser never sets foot on a battlefield. He never fires a weapon, yet his fingerprints are everywhere, etched into hull plates, welded into seams, carried across oceans under fire. His factory trick turned time itself into a weapon the Axis could not bomb, could not intercept, could not outfight. When the war ends, historians will debate generals and strategies, battles and blunders, but beneath it all lies a quieter truth. The war was decided the moment America learned how to build faster than it could be destroyed. And once that happened, everything else was only a matter of time.